1017 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike M. McCarty. In studio, Tom Arceneaux, one of the candidates that made the runoff for Shreveport mayor. Tom, congratulations. First of all, 28%.
Yep.
You came out on top. It's you and Greg Tarver.
Right.
In the runoff now. So tell me, what do you do? How does your message, or does it change, to go after the votes from, say, Chavez and Perkins and Fuller?
Well, I think our message really, the messaging doesn't change significantly. We've laid out plans, and we're planning to keep up to those plans, and perhaps expand on those a little bit now that we're in a runoff situation. And I'm going to start looking at who might possibly be a part of the administration, and so that people have some idea where we're going to go. And our view is that we think we ought to and can be in a position to hit the ground running on December 31st.
Staff members for the Tom Arceneaux mayoral administration, what kind of people do you want?
I want professionals who are skilled at what they do and have experience at what they do, but also have strong leadership qualities, because I think my style of leadership is kind of management by walking around, but that requires pretty strong leadership at the department head level. So we'll evaluate all of those department heads. I don't walk in saying, everybody hand me your resignation, but I will have a different chief administrative officer, and I'm already in the process of looking at who that person might be.
City attorney, financial officer, those are critical.
Those are the three. You just named the three top. The finance director, I have some ideas about that. Haven't talked to anybody yet. I have some ideas, again, about city attorney. Haven't talked to anybody yet. But my view on city attorney is it needs to be somebody who is extremely strong and will provide the city council with extremely strong advice, a very sturdy person to give objective advice to the council. The city attorney's office doesn't represent the mayor, and it doesn't represent the city council. It represents the city as an entity. That's an ethical requirement, by the way. It's not. It is in the charter, but it's not it is an ethical requirement.
Should be full-time?
Absolutely full-time. Okay. Yeah, absolutely full-time.
Okay, a couple weeks ago, Adrian Perkins announced this big deal with Rev Entertainment, bringing a huge complex now to the fairgrounds. How familiar are you with this? Do you pursue this? Do you continue this, this agreement with Rev Entertainment bringing a new stadium?
I'm not terribly familiar with the details, and I really therefore can't comment very much about it until I see the details. I'd like to know where the money is coming from. It's a whole lot of money, and that's something to really have to examine, and we'll see whether that is still on the table. And if it is, we're going to evaluate it, but I really won't be in a position to evaluate it until I'm actually in office.
I'm told by, and this brings up this topic, I'm told by inside sources that Mayor Perkins, when he took office, asked Mayor Tyler, not to sign any contracts that would encumber his administration, and she agreed. Would you urge the same? Because the Rev Entertainment people are in town this week. They're here this week. Would you urge the Adrian Perkins administration not to sign any contracts that might encumber your administration here in the last month of his office, month and a half?
On a long-term basis, absolutely, because we're going to not only are we going to have a new mayor, we know we're going to have a new mayor. We're also going to have a new city council, and I think that anything that's going to extend more than 90 days or something like that. It's a great question that I hadn't thought completely through, but certainly I would not want to have a non-terminable long-term agreement entered into between now and December 31st.
Okay, you've talked about putting your team together. Some way say a cart before the horse, Mr. Tommy. How do you beat Greg Tarver first? Everybody says he's going to beat you.
Well, everybody said I couldn't be in the runoff too. So we think that there's a group of people in Shreveport that really don't care what your party is, don't care what your color is. They just care, can you do the job? I have spent the last several decades of my life preparing myself. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but in actuality, I was preparing myself to become the mayor of Shreveport, to be a servant leader, and that's the way that I plan to do it. And I think I take that message to the people. It resonated in the primary. It will resonate again in the runoff.
Were there any surprises in any of the city council races that you kind of went, wow?
I've said many times, people say, well, who would you like to have on the council? I'd like to have on the council whoever it is that the people of Shreveport decide to elect to the council. I'm not sure what the final result. The last thing I saw in the District B was a runoff, but that
were tied.
The second two were tied. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an election law expert, so I don't know what that does. I was not really surprised with the District E election. C, I was pretty sure that Jim Talaferro was. He was a very significant candidate.
Do you reach out to Fuller, Chavez, and actively seek their endorsement?
Endorsement, sometimes those endorsements are not that important, but it would be important to have their voters and their team leadership perhaps on board. And yes, I'll do that.
Perkins too? Yes. Okay. You'd be for all of them.
Well, I think first of all, I think it's a courtesy. I obviously thought that we could go in a little different direction than Mayor Perkins, but he did offer himself for service. He served for 4 years. I think he did so in good faith, and so I appreciate his service, even if I disagree with the direction that he took us and would take us in a different direction. So the first thing I think is just as a courtesy that you kind of get to know each other on the campaign trail, and he's a very personable young fellow, and I think he has a future somewhere in Shreveport or otherwise. So yes, I think you reach out to everybody.
Mm-hmm. One last thing. You got one? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One last thing. This is going to sound so rude. Two old guys. How is the young voter going to relate to you two old guys?
Well, I'm the youngest candidate in the race. So I think they will relate to me better. There's something about mentoring, and that's something I've done my entire career, and so I hope to do that to the generation that follows us. It is time for this generation to pass the gavel to somebody else. The thing is, we haven't left the city in a great position to do that, and so that's what I want to do. I told a group of young people last week, I'm doing this for you. Because I don't have a long stake in the future of Shreveport. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here until they carry me out horizontally. But it is very important to bring in young people into the administration and to be training the next group of public leaders in the next generation. That's very, very important to me, and that'll be a message that I'll take to young